Hey guys, welcome back. It's Grim Reaper coming at you for another video for Raidshadowlegends. Hopefully you're doing very well and hopefully you're having a positive start of C vs C. Some juicy stuff coming out of C vs C and some juicy rewards coming out of C vs C, which is going to be some relic materials. Interesting in giving us like one and a bit if you can get a 4-0 in your thingies, but also if you win the personal rewards, if you win personal awards as well, you're also going to get another load as well. So I think you get 2 relics, legendary summons, and then 2 epics, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got 75. So yeah, two and a half epics, and then you're going to get a rare one as well. So it's very interesting for the relics and stuff like that. I will save these up and I will probably do a video some point in a couple of weeks where I'll summon all the relics and etc. because I will do a video on it and we'll talk about relics and etc. in it. Anyway, I thought today would be the perfect time to do a tier list, right? I don't normally do these tier lists, but I know you guys like them. I have a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback, sometimes a bit of bad feedback as well. Can't always be right on these situations, but we have all the relics in Raidshadowlegends. So it's going to be a long video. Go ahead, put me on that TV, put your feet up. We're going to talk about all these relics. I'm going to try and make it short as possible. So we've got 5 categories, and I'll talk about a couple of relics that I'm using myself as well. There's no storage on my computer, but there is. And yeah, let's talk about a couple of relics, and we'll start from the front and we'll come into our forge, and we'll start talking about it here. So we'll start with the res, and then we'll go our way through. I think we'll start with the live arena group. See, live arena patch is going live today, and it's looking very, very interesting. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. What already legendary or mythical relics you have already on your account. I'm kind of curious on how many of you guys actually have these. So, for example, I don't own any mythicals, but I am lucky enough to own all of the legendary relics in this one and this one as well, and also in the group one as well. So which one was here? So I have the legendaries in the first ones. I don't have obviously these two and these two, but they have been put out to offer for us from today. The clan one's very, very limited still. So we'll start with the start with the live arena ones, and let's get on with it. Right, so we have, and by the way, if I read any of these wrong, I do apologize. I'm dyslexic beforehand, so sometimes reading is not my strongest skill, but what I can promise you is a really strong depth of knowledge in Raidshadowlegends. A lot of people will know me for. So let's deal with a few of these things, and we'll talk about the niches and etc. I will try and make it short and sweet as well. So the where it deals, so we have the dread of irony, we have HP, attack, and accuracy. The wearer deals 5% more damage using a default skill and when all other skills are on cooldown. So again, there's a few places where this will be useful. Dealing with more damage is always nice. You could use this on like a Candy, for example, has a really hard hitter on that A1. Anyone with like a triple hitter as well could be really, really useful. And then use them against Lockout. Now, it is a bit niche, but it's definitely a interesting one. Maybe potentially go on a Torment, and when he does AoE and he's locked out as well, that could be a simple one. So I wouldn't say that that's going to be super awful. I say it's very, very niche. So we have different tiers here. We're going to have SS tier, which is going to be absolutely incredible. A tier, which will be top tier, and then a B tier, which is going to be kind of usable. C tier, which will be niche, and that's about it. And then D tier, which will be chickens, I guess. So I wouldn't really be recommending. Now I'm going to look at all these as an end game perspective, not as mid game or early mid or anything like that, because I am an end game P versus P player. I'm also quite competitive in P versus E, or do what I can. So we're going to talk about the first one. I'm going to put it in the C tier. I don't think it's the worst rare ones in the game, but it is very, very niche and could be usable on a couple of champions. So we have Royal Digit. This will give you attack, HP, and critical damage. Now I might bump some of these up higher with whatever gemstones they can fit with, or whatever stats they have here. So the wearer deals 20%. The wearer has a 20% chance to deal chance to decrease incoming damage by 10. Now this goes all the way up to a 30, 50%. I think this is not fairly bad. You know, wearer has a 20% chance to decrease incoming damage by 10%, and then it can go up by 20, 40%. So you can decrease the damage mitigation by quite a bit. I think that could be fairly good in P vs E and P vs P. P vs P go second teams, and in P vs P, I don't think it's super awful as well. It's also triangle. I don't think there's anything very, very strong in triangle. I did check all these freehand, but I didn't put them in order. Maybe I should have, but you learn buying a live by the next one. So for me, this one is going to go in B tier. I think it's got a lot of good use in P versus E content, especially if you're more mid-game player. I think it could be very good for damage mitigation, and maybe potentially in Hydra. Attack and HP is not the best, but could definitely add some juiciness towards your tap-based nukers in like Hydra, Chimera, even P vs P as well. Could be an interesting one. We have Moon Death as well. So the wearer deals pure damage equal to the 20% of the attack to the enemies that resists the debuffs. This is going to be super, super niche. I don't think this is going to be great, if I'm being honest. I think this could be used with bombs, but again, I don't think it's also the best one for bombs. It will be something that would need to be tested for sure, but for now, I'm going to put it in D tier. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. Preserved. The wearer has 2% of the target damage for each poison debuff placed on this wearer. Could be a P versus P for certain champions. Very, very niche one again. Let's take a look at that symbol. Yeah, it's a interesting one for sure. Where's the symbol for that? We'll find it in a second. So so I'm gonna put this one. I think it's gonna. I don't think it's like S tier. I think it's niche. So we could put it in this one. But I feel like it's also got some utility in P vs E that we're probably not figured out yet. Like maybe in Chimera or in Hydra, maybe potentially, or maybe against a dragon or something like that. Could be a useful relic for like P versus E, mid game players and etc. I don't think it's super bad. Then we have that axe serpents. Deals with more damage with the the wearer has more damage. I'm gonna be honest. I think for HP nukers, this is really strong for HP nukers when we're talking about the main stat HP and critical damage. I think this is really strong for HP nukers. You could also say Hatter Reserve is also strong. Bear in mind you're going to get 3 gemstones, so you can have like a boss slayer one in here, and then something here with triple hitter, and then something here as well. So I think for like Hydra, it's a bit niche, which is not really like screaming out like it's going to be super good. But then when I think about HP nukers, I think that it's going to be very, very useful. So I'm going to put this in the B tier category because I think that could be very strong on like champions like Narcissus, for example. Maybe even a Taurus if you don't have like a cat gaze or something like that, which are like is a better version. But yeah, definitely something that is very usable just for the stats and then for the stones as well. Then the wearer, then we have Harpit of. Not gonna try and. I'm just gonna call this Harpit. The wearer's turn meter fills by 5% each time they use a skill that doesn't deal damage. This is going to be pretty strong on some champions, like Duchess potentially, because you're going to get HP resistance and etc. This could be used maybe with the rebirth set, so this you'll get some extra stuff. She doesn't use like damage on the A2, for example. You also can get a gemstone here that can increase your turn meter if your allies lose by a certain HP. That could be very strong for a Duchess as well. A couple of revivers for this, and then you can get like the gemstones that increase your speed by 2 for each ally is dead. That does stack as well with like a spirit haste, so it's very, very strong. Is it A tier, S tier? I'm not too sure, but I think used in the right one, I think that this would be A tier. We use like a Duchess for like Chimera or P versus E content. Is really, really strong for sure. So again, always again turn meter for A2 and A3. I think it's a bit niche on what champion to use it on. Star Sage as well for his first form. For the A2 could be quite nice, and the A3 as well. So there's definitely better relics out there for these champions I mentioned, but there is some synergy there for sure. The Death Dealer, I think Death Dealer, interesting relic, will need to be tested a lot. Basically, this allows you to do build your nukers with like really high damage stat, really high critical damage, with not really needing any critical rate at all. It does need to be tested because there's not like a lot of information on this, but I feel like this is actually going to be really, really strong on the right damage dealers. For example, anyone with like a surplus damage could be a really big threat. So champions like Baron, Sung Wong, and Sigford, all of them have that surplus damage, which I feel is a massive threat. So for me, that could change the meta. This is one of the relics that you could be completely wrong or completely right about. So I think this one will be A tier. I think this one will be A tier, but it's going to be on the right champions. I don't think it's going to be able to just be put on any champion like the Cat Reserve, the Cat Gaze, for example. And then we have the Inferni Polymorph. So the fully resets the cooldowns of a square skill whenever the HP drops below 30%. So it's a built-in timer basically, goes for 3 turns, and then the requirements of the HP drop increases, so it goes up to below 50% of the HP. So if your HP is 100, I guess it'd kick in roughly around about 15, I suppose. Again, it could go on like champions like Duchess, etc. If you're not running like a high resist, could be a very strong one. Really good stats as well. A lot of gemstones available for it as well. So you could put in like the bolt work one, that is a circle one, can increase the tankiness of these champions as well. And then you can increase this by 20, 25, 30, 35, 40% of the HP. I think this is very, very strong. There's no cooldown on it as well. I think this has the best potential out of all of them, and it's probably the one that I would look forward to getting more than anything. I guess if I get one, I'll probably get whacked on Sifi, unfortunately. So I'm going to actually say that this one's going to be my first S tier one. I think that it's going to be very, very OP, and it's definitely going to be one that you don't want to face. We're going to talk about the clan ones now. There's not much we can really access in these clan ones. They are looking a bit underwhelming compared to most. So the wearer receives 2% less damage from ally protection effects or buffs placed on them. Interesting gemstone, good stats across the board for a ally attack champion, a ally protection champion. It's a really nice symbol, but I don't feel like it's super strong. I think it's niche, so it'll go in the C tier department. Then we have the flesh render, so I think this would be good for like early game players and etc. And I think mid game players as well. So the wearer increases the damage of each hit of their next attack by 3 if there's any surplus heal by self healing. The damage cannot exceed. It's a very, very niche one. I don't feel like there is going to be a lot for this. So I think this is one we could be underwhelming or anything like that. I just couldn't think where we would really, really use this one, if I am being honest. So for me, it's going to go straight in the D tier. So let's go into D tier. I don't think it's very good at all, for sure. Right, so we're moving on quite swiftly. Valkynus Grasp. We have good base stats as well. The wearer reflects 5% of the damage a sword back by callables. Back to the wearer. Not very strong at all. I guess if you're using like Halikath or etc., it's going to be quite strong, but for me, it's not one I really would want to see on my account. So we will pull it in D tier. I wouldn't probably feed it straight away because I'll probably just keep one, but it's definitely one of their ones as well. Infintinus here. Oh, always a lot of resistance for that. A lot of people are going to want this for high resistance build for sure. The wearer's resistance increases by 2 for each every 5% HP loss, stacks up to 20%. That is insane. You basically could go like 1300 with this. 1300 resistance, that really counters the resistance. I think there's not much of gemstones to go with this though, so there's no circle ones. Like there's a circle legendary one that can give you 30% resistance in that. So we could just take a little look quickly and see if there is. Oh yeah, ignore resistance by the target's resistance when place and provoke. Not really matter. I guess it could go with the steadfast ones. I think this is going to be a solid one, but I think it's going to be super niche. I don't think a lot of people will use this. But you could use this in like Chimera, etc. as well, just for like the base stats, or at Hydra. If you're trying to build up like a Krisk, for example. I'm gonna put this in the A tier. I feel like in P versus P and P versus E, it can definitely put some stuff out there, and 100 resistance is always gonna be amazing, basically, from that. Then we have a temporary stagnation. The wearer has a 20% chance to remove, steal, or convert buffs, or increase a skill cooldown when landing a weak hit. Pretty cool. It's a bit similar to Hana Creation. I think this could be used on multiple champions. I think ideally, if you're going to be like more of a go second, because it says a steal or removal. No, I guess it goes more in the go first. So this would be perfect for Armads, for example, or the new fusion. There definitely a lot of, you can get some Ultimeter from Gemstone as well from this, and then there's some funky stuff that you can do here as well. I actually really like that as well. So super strong. Ideally, just by pulling that for the speed and accuracy, that is amazing. So that is like a little ball which I can't see. I'm gonna say that this one is A tier. I'm gonna say that this one's stronger than these two. I don't know if it's strong. I think it'd be stronger in the damage dealer, to be honest, because I can see it being more usable in P vs P and P vs E. You can use it in wave based clearer as well. That can be quite useful. Then we have the essence, etc. Whereas damage increases by 20%, the damage is, whereas damage is increased by 20% of the target's current turn meter, the damage cannot increase more than 10% and 5% against bosses. You can put Boss Slayer with it. It's a P vs E relic. I really like the stats for like attack based champions. I wouldn't say it's like the best damage dealing one out there for sure. I mean, I don't think there's anything that comes close to Cat Gaze at the moment, but I don't think it's also useful just because their stats are really, really juicy as well. So that is going to be this one. I think that's just going to be in the A tier as well. Then we have Rebirth. So the wearer has a 30% chance to get a extra turn when reviving allies themselves or themselves. This is going to be insane. with like the rebirth set, man. Like that is gonna be insane. Yeah, I think this is really, really incredibly strong on the white champions. 24 speed as well. I would love to get this just for the speed, but yeah, that could be amazing. Even on a Sifi, honestly, like, can you imagine a Sifi can revive and then has like a 30% chance to get electric return, and then this can go up to a 50, 60, 70, 80% chance. That is horrendous. And you can probably take this up to level 5 already. Wow. And then you can get like turn meter one here as well. Then you can get like a damage reduction one here. And then do some funky with these ones as well. For me, that's incredible. If I can find it. I don't think I actually download the picture. I knew it was going to get to a point where we would be missing one. Oh, I can't see it. Is that it? I think that's it. This is going to be S tier for me. I think that's definitely S tier. I think that's it. Yeah, it is. I really want this one. Now I read this one properly. Um, Again, looks like another damage one, so really good for the stats. You got 4 gemstones as well. The wearer has a 25% chance to deal bonus damage when using a default skill. Bonus damage is either 3% single target hints or 1% for AoE of the target max HP. And then it goes up to a 25, 30, 50% chance. I mean, that's pretty strong though. Like, I think that's very, very strong. It could be a usable one for sure. You're going to get strong critical damage and attack, even a little bit HP as well. So that could be usable. I'm not too sure who you'd put this on, but you can definitely put this on someone for strong. Do I think it's S tier? I think it need to be tested. I would say it's probably up there. I think it's a little bit, I'd say it's more better than Death Dealer because I don't think it's so niche. So for me, it goes ahead for sure. I mean, Death Dealer does the same, but you don't get the critical damage. So it's got better stats as well. So yeah. Anyway, had to reserve. We know what this one's all about, really. You can use it for like damage mitigation, but it's really solid for HP nukers. You can put this on the Rodus, He-Man, Narcissus, a Gizmak, for example, if you don't have a better. I mean, there is definitely better relics to put out there than everyone, and I know that we all got sick of some of them. I'm gonna say that this one is gonna be B tier. I think this one's B tier. I don't think it's so strong as this one. Um, it's usable. It doesn't have like critical damage stats for me, so for me, that's gonna be the way that I kind of look at it as. The cat gaze, this ignores certain percentage of target defense, as long as they have more HP. So this is great for PvP and PvE, and a lot of people are obviously using this. For me, it's probably the best damage dealer one out there, other than a couple of the legendary, a couple of the mythical ones. So for me, cat gaze is out there, and it's definitely S tier for sure. One of my favorite ones as well, to be honest. Death Bow. I really like Death Bow. He increases the turn meter by 10% when applying stuns, etc. This is really strong on Armand, so you can get the turn meter gemstone as well when allies receive so much HP loss. So you can help increase the turn meter as well there. So for me, that this is super strong. Just coming off with a 96 accuracy from a rare, which is really accessible because it's a Chimera one. For me, I feel is really, really strong just for the stats. This is strong for anyone from mid game all the way through. I definitely will max out a couple of these, and even when I'm not using them on the champions, I want to. I will probably use them on certain ones. So for me, I'm gonna say it's A tier because extra 100 accuracy is it's just like just incredible, honestly, and I think for me that's going to be really solid. I think, is it A tier? um you know what, I'm going to put it in the B tier. I don't feel like I can justify this one as strong as these ones. but I definitely think that you could questionably put this in an A tier one just because of the stats. I think it's definitely stronger than the Hatter Reserve as well. And can be used more. This increases this is whereas to decreases the effects are affected by 15%. This one gets hurt a lot because there's a lot of stone skin in the meta. So this would have been like 2-3 years ago, would have been really strong against champions like Lysandra, for example, who was quite meta at the time. So I guess for me, I'm gonna put it in. I guess I'm gonna put it in C tier. I think it's niche. The stuff is fairly fine. Actually, I'm gonna move it down. I'm gonna move it down because I thought it was resistance, so I don't see it usable. I think it's a little bit usable, but I don't think it's like super strong out there. Then we have the undead as well. So the defense increases by 1 for each ally under ally protection. So you need to be under ally protection mixed niche already. I don't think it's super bad, but I don't think I really like it that much. So again, it could be strong for like mid-game players in Hydra with like a Krisk or Clan Boss, for example, as well. If you're not running a killable, definitely niche, but someone I'm not really fond of. Then we have Talon. I think Talon is one of the strongest three out of all the rares. I think this one definitely goes third. I think Death Bout goes second. Really strong base stats as well, just for damage dealers. Extra critical damage, and then a 20% chance to deal with 10% more damage when attacking. I definitely will max out probably 1 or 2 of these myself. So for me, I'm going to put this in the B tier. I guess I'm going to put it behind Hatter Reserve. I think, to be honest, I think we put this behind Hatter Reserve. I think it's really strong as a rare, and it's definitely one of the best ones for sure, and I really love that. Then we have the Crown. The Crown is very strong in like Chimera, very strong in Hydra with like champions like Thor, Tronda. There's definitely, you can probably use this on like Carnage as well if you want to use the first form a bit more. You definitely need to put some debuffs out there to increase the damage. So for me, this is going to be really strong. For me, this will probably go into the A tier if I can find it on here. Yeah, so I think for me that this goes in the A tier, and I think it's really strong for P versus P. I don't think it's so much strong in P versus E. So P versus P is not as strong. In P versus E, it's definitely very strong. Then we have the thingy of transfixon. Not bad. It's not a bad one. It just gives you like a certain percentage to steal still a certain buffs. You got HP and accuracy as well. So for me, this is great for Commodus because Commodus need all 3 of these stats, and you can also put 2 ignore defense 5% resistance on as well, which is epic gemstones. Really solid, which I have them. Or you can use the bombs as well to increase bomb damage. So for me, I'm a big fan of that. Do I think it's as strong as Death Bow? I think it depends on the champion that you're using it with. But it's definitely one that's underrated. I think a few people think at the moment it's not working, and it could be correct there, which might need to be tested. I'm going to put this in the A tier, personally, because I do use it myself, and it is quite consistent as well. Then we have the Scrolls of Unseen. Very niche, very similar to this one. Can be fantastic for Ninja, for example. I don't feel like it's as good as this one, but it can allow you to put 2 boss layer gemstones in there. So long as they can stack, you would be perfectly fine. I'm going to put this one in... Yeah, I'm going to put this one in B tier because I don't think it's as strong as this one. This one's less niche than this one, so for me that this goes there, and I think that this one's still a better investment than this one. Hand creation, I think the hand creation is on everything you need. Got really good accuracy and speed. The chain speed's on the middle, but it is what it is. You can actually get some increased turn meter ones here, and then you can get like a increase turn meter effects as well, which is super strong. I have this one on my armads as well. It reduces the chance of applying debuffs, stealing, or removing buffs, dealing or stealing turn meter, or increasing the cooldown skills cooldowns when a wearer receives by 10%. And then you can book this up to a 20% as well. For me, this is super strong. So I'm definitely going to give this I'm going to say it's on the lower end of S tier. Yeah, no, actually I'm going to say that it's A tier. I think it's a little bit better than this one. I think the stats a little bit better, but I feel this one could be stronger overall. I think it's really hard to compare. Then we have the Reaper symbol. This is a P versus P1, so gemstones are okay. I don't feel like this is the best damage dealer one out there, to be honest, but I can use this on champions like Carnage, Rodus. I think Rodus has better gemstone relics out there, but I use this on Carnage at the moment. So for me, it's extra attack and defense. For P versus P, doesn't do anything in P versus E, so I feel like this one could be better in P versus E. So I'm going to say that this one is a B tier one. I think if it was only a P, if we was just talking, I think Cat Relic one is just stronger. I just think it's not that great, to be honest. Maybe an interesting one. The cube, this one was bugged, but it has a 50% chance to give you 2 turns in a row. Then this effect activates, skips the next turn. It's an interesting one. It can go up to 100%. It's definitely a interesting relic. It's definitely one of the strongest ones out there, so definitely deserves to go towards the S tier one. I think that this one for me kind of just takes top spot right now because I think it's definitely one of the strongest ones out there. Then we have Stormcaller, which has a chance to place a stun. I have faced this and it's an absolute nightmare to face, and I think that a lot of people sleep on this. And I think it is as strong as the cat gate. It's very similar. But for like P versus P, I think it's stronger. I think for P versus E, I guess, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to kind of say which one's stronger out of two. So I'm going to put this one here for now, of that one. So let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Now, everyone will be able to summon these from Live Arena as well, because Live Arena can give you 50% chance of giving these ones, and they give you a 50% chance of releasing these ones, which will give you a chance to give you ones like these, which are interesting. So we have Rod of Blasphemy. This gives you less damage. It's very, very niche. It's very, very niche. Not my favorite one at all. So that goes in the D tier. Then we have Boca Journals, which I think is still the strongest rare relic out there. So I'm going to give this a strong A tier. It doesn't work the way that you think it will, because you think it's going to give you like a base stat on top of your turn meter. How this works, this gives you like a certain percentage. So for like a Sifi, for example, she is a 10% turn meter. So you work out like a certain percentage, and I think when we worked out the maths, it was like a 11.5, I think, fully maxed out with Sifi, but like Arbiter was like a 37 or 36 when it was fully booked. So that's definitely big for like our bias and champions like that, right? We have a 30% turn meter boost. Most champions are 20. There's a few champions with 15 and 10, but the most of them are 20. And then there's only 2 champions, I think, that give you the 30%. And then the one that goes after that is really, really conditional, which I think is the Night Rev one, which gives you 60, I think, in total. Mask of Rage, good for guess for mid-game players and etc. So I'm going to say that this one's niche, and we're going to put this one in the C tier. Don't see me doing it. Unholy Grail. Good for a bomb champion, I guess. We know for the base stats, it doesn't really do anything here. I guess it's very, very niche. You can put the bomb damage in as well, or resistance one. But I think other than that, it's just a chicken. I think it's definitely stronger than Rod of Blasphemy. But that is about it for that one. Elixir of Gold is a very strong relic, so a lot of people use Elixir of Gold on like Narcissus, for example. Sorry, not Narcissus, on like Nice. So when he dies, Marius would normally kill him, but because he heals by a certain percentage now as he's transforming, it's really, really odd. And you can have the turn meter one as well in there, and it's catched me off a few times, which is a interesting one. It can be used in like UDK. You can, by the stats, it doesn't look great, but like UDK or like a Rodus or something, this could be a little bit annoying. So for me, that I'm gonna put this one in the A tier department and kind of just leave it there for that time being. Then we have this one. I think this one's great on like champions that don't have any turn meter in their kits. So anyone that who is dying or when your allies dies or anything like that, you also got gemstones to increase the turn meter and your base speed as well when your allies die, which is pretty nice. I did a video on this one with Duchess. It's really, really strong. It's definitely stronger ones out there, but it's really strong. So for me, that this is going to go in the B department, and I'm going to pull it roughly around about there. Then we have Dragonstone. So this would be good on like champions like in Harmony, UDK to increase their defense and increase the damage reduction. Bit niche. You could use it on other champions as well, but for me, it's a strong one. But is it strong as like the others? I don't think it is, if I'm being honest. Then we have the one of submissive. One of submissive is probably the strongest relic out there when we're talking about arena. Could be good in PvP as well. So for me, it's gonna go second. Yeah, I think we're gonna go second for now because it's such good in this meta. Champions like Odin, Armand, for example, you can't see it as well, which makes it even worse. And I think like out the 4 accounts I drive, it does make me lose probably like 1 or 2 fights throughout the sessions, and it's really, really annoying. I do 0-1 on the Marius as well. I like to use it with champions that are very prone to polymorph to kind of reflect a polymorph back because it's a game changer. Like polymorph is a game changer. Aspect of Seraph, very good on champions like Marishka, Rodus, for example. Was used on Marius, but then got nerfed a lot, so I haven't really been seeing Marius with these so much. So for me, it's a really strong one. I think it goes up in S tier in the bottom end. And then how Hallows of hits. A lot of people just want this one for the speed, to be honest. I can't remember what Fever does, but for me, just because I want it for speed, I think it goes in the S tier department as well. And I'm gonna say it comes with roughly here, I guess, because I do think these two are stronger. And I think one of these also gives speed. I think it's this one that gives the speed as well. So like 24 speed is just insane. Volcanus Hearts is like a magma shields. It can do some work against like jumps like Sigfrid, etc. I've tapped it a few times. I've not been impressed, but I don't think it's super awful as well. So I think this one comes in this department somewhere. I guess it'd be amazing in P versus P as well because you can reactivate it throughout the fights as well. So I guess that would be it for there. I think it's worth noting like all the relics have a place in the game. You just have to think outside the box a little bit. But yeah, this is for me. This would be my tier list. This would be what I think about some of these relics for sure. I think some of these just come in for the base stats like Tangan and Death Bow and etc. For rares are really, really strong, and they're the ones I'd be looking for. If you, especially if you don't have like a max great hall or like high level blessings, you can really help get your stats up just by using them. So yeah, I think that's going to be really, really strong. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments if there's any of these that you disagree or agree with. I'm really curious on what you guys think and feel about this. And I guess that's it from me. I better go and do some C versus C because as I've been doing this, I haven't been putting any points up. So Shavi's already running away with the top spot, so go and kick him up the Bahooty and take the rug underneath him and show him who is boss. So I guess that's it for today's video. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I've been Grim. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.